Hi, welcome to BS Garage. On this one, we do a massive burnout because we fixed the brakes and the line lock finally works. Let's go. Remember when we changed out to this master because I thought that was the issue? Well, we still don't have very good brakes, so we're going to change out this whole assembly again. What I'm going to change it out to is the Detroit Speed and Engineering setup. It's not nearly as pretty, it's not as billety, but it is a factory style unit that GM uses. It's got a Bosch master on it, and it's what the Roadster shop uses. I heard them talk about it on their podcast, and that it just works with any brake setup. So I'm really hoping that after I put this on, bleed everything through, this will solve my issues. This unit, I mean, obviously they don't make one directly for, a modified car, but I bought one for a 69 Camaro. And I took some light measurements on where the mounting brackets are and where everything kind of sits. And I believe that I can make this work for my application. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm also going to completely blow out all the lines and just start over with some fresh fluid. Maybe my fluid is questionable. Maybe I had some moisture in the lines. I don't know, but I'm just going to blow it all out, start all over. So I think the first thing that I'm going to do is get this car up in the air, get the wheels all off, and just get it ready in order for me to just start tackling it and going over everything once more. What a pain. Who built this car? Who made it this fun to take wheels and tires off? So stupid me. In order to, get my wheels off, I got to undo the traction bars, and then I got to raise it up, and then I got to take the exhaust off because it hits the axle. So I got the exhaust, the cutouts and stuff laying right over there. Super fun. It takes a long time. So if I ever get a flat on the side of the road, I'm just, I'm just going to leave the car there and burn it. I think that's my plan. Inspecting the brakes. So the rear brakes look like they got kind of hot. I don't know if they were dragging or if it was just like a rear bias thing, like those things were only working, or those pads just suck, because it is one of those eBay brake kits and you can see how much brake dust is inside there. So I don't know. That's really, maybe it's my, my bias. It is a Summit Racing brand rear bias. Like it's just one, I'll show you. I just don't know. That kind of bothers me, right? So we may upgrade those to like some Willwoods later in order to match the front. So there's the brake bias thing there. So if you've ever ran one of those and you've had issues with it, let me know. I don't know why that would hold fluid, but maybe I had it adjusted wrong. Could be user error. Who knows? But got it up on the air, and what do I gotta do? So now I'm gonna drain all the fluid. I'm basically going to unhook the master, and I'm going to put air to these hoses and open up all the valves and then just drain them, blow them all out, start from scratch. Have everything off and out of the way. One thing I did notice is that there was a bit of a, after I took the master off, I just hit the pedal and there was a bit of a kink. It would kind of get held up. So I don't know if there's some issue with the mystery booster that I threw on there that could be causing everything that I've been going through. But either way, we're not going to use this one anymore. We can save that for something later. I don't know if that's the issue or not, but we'll find out. If it happens on the next project, then we'll know. But I just want to throw this whole assembly on there just to make sure that we're good. One thing is, you can see that where it mounts, because like I said before, this is for a 69 Camaro, how low it mounts and how high this is, it's definitely going to hit the hood. So I think my plan is to actually flip the master around, which makes everything backwards. That way we have more clearance. I hope that makes sense. It will angle it down a little bit. I don't know if that's going to matter with the reservoir, but it shouldn't be all that much, because if you look, the angle that is makes the reservoir level, but I think that we'll still get more than enough fluid inside of here in order to make everything happen. So yeah, I'm gonna work on that. Also, I gotta take this off because this clasp will not work. I got to resort back to what I had on there before and mount it up pretty much the same way. But the lengths are pretty much the same. Obviously, this is all adjustable, so we should be able to dial it all in. So yeah, I hope this works. I'm going to take this off now, flip it around, mock it up, and then I will show you if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Okay, got the master cylinder kind of, or the whole setup just mocked up on there. I ditched the brackets themselves because if I try to flip them, I didn't like the angle that it was at, like I was talking about before. So I'm using the brackets that were on here that came with this whole kit here. It lines up, the bolt holes line up, but the threads themselves are a little too long, so I'm gonna have to trim those back if I want to mount this up. And then this kind of puts it at a nice angle. And then the hood, I mean, the hood's normally right here, so it gives me plenty of clearance. It does, I mean, because that vacuum booster is much bigger, I'm gonna have to figure out something with my, flex fuel sensor, don't do that. Because it was running like right here, so I'm gonna have to adjust on that a little bit. Not a big deal. I kind of wish I would have done a little bit more research because this is just a Bosch kind of a factory GM unit. Same thing with this. If I would have just looked up part numbers that are on here, I probably could have just purchased this, and then I've been done with it. And probably could have saved myself a few bucks, but you live and learn. I'll use the part numbers off this one on the next project, obviously, but yeah, so I think next up I got to trim, I'm going to trim these down. And after that, there's no going back. Can't return this thing anymore, but it's the only way I'm going to be able to get it to fit. So cut these down, bolt this thing up, and then we'll work on the pedal placement. All right, so I think I'm onto something here. Got it all mocked up. I had to put an extra set of nuts as spacers in between the bracket that mounts to the body and the booster itself. You can see this gap right here. Not a big deal. If anybody ever notices it, I'm going to tell them basically F off, because if this works, I'm going to be so excited. And then I have another set of nuts here that cinch it all to it. Like I said, though, this is all just mock-up right now, but everything's lining up correctly. The reason that I had to do that is so that I could get enough distance between the rod and the pedal itself, because I am using the clasp that it came with. And if I would have left it in there, I wouldn't have had enough thread for adjustment to get the pedal exactly where I wanted it and to have enough throw. I hope that makes sense. But I'm really liking this already. This already feels, honest to God, so much better. That booster must have been junk, and I don't know why I didn't notice that before, but this feels so much more gooder. Yeah, I'm already excited. So, I mean, obviously I still gotta adjust the brake. I backed the switch out all the way in order to make sure I could have enough play. And then I tested it out with my feet in order to make sure that I had a good, transition right there. But I have it right where I want it to be. I believe I have enough throw in there in order to pressurize the system. I mean, that's over an inch, so that should be good. That's usually how much you got to do it for. I tried to read the instructions, but I didn't notice anything. And let's be real, I just kind of skimmed over the instructions. What's next? So, I don't know. Let me look. So what's next is I'm going to go ahead and redo these lines here. This one goes to the front, this one goes to the rear, and I have to put in my TBM line lock somewhere. I got to figure out a bracket for that. Maybe go off here again, but I can't because this is really close. So I might have to mount it somewhere in this area here. But like I said, I got to redo these lines. I did read the instructions enough to know that the back port is for the front brakes and the front port is for the rear brakes, which is very counterintuitive, but that's what they say, so that's what you got to do. And it does come with the fittings for that. So I think that's what I'm going to work on now is mocking all of this up, and then I can take it all back apart, and then this has to be bench bled before I can go through and bleed the entire system, and then permanently hook up all of this after this is all bench bled and stuff like that. So, woo! I'm excited. Oh God, this is going to work. This is so going to work. Got the line lock all mounted up. All my lines ran, going down to where they were. Not the cleanest, but it's totally going to work for me. I think that's it. I think that's it for mock-up. Everything's good to go. Everything's where it needs to be. Everything, I like it. The setup is nice. So Now it comes time to bleeding everything. So I'm gonna start with the master itself. I'm gonna bench bleed this guy and then attach this, bolt all this together, attach all the lines, and then start bleeding the brakes themselves. Went ahead and spent the last 2 hours manually bleeding these brakes. Made a little bit of a mess the way I do it. Jack handle, piece of wood, cloth. Pump it up, hold it down with the jack handle. Should be good to go. This thing is actually feeling really good. She's got limited travel now. Like, that's it, and she is rock hard. So guess we're gonna have to wait until tomorrow because it's actually really late in order to slap this thing all back together and hopefully take it for a drive and make sure that it is good to go. Gosh, I hope so. I so hope so. I am so sick of doing brakes. It's been a couple days. I don't know where we left off, but the brakes are completely bled out. I'm really hoping that they're going to work. It's actually a nice day outside, but it is cold, so that's why I got the garage door shut. I'm putting it all back together, and then we're going to test it out. This isn't a bitch by any means, but in order to get my wheels and tires back on this car, I have to disassemble and assemble so many things in suspension wise because I got this thing so dumb low, and then the fender isn't, you know, a hole. It's like a square or a rectangle. In order to get that up in there, I have to take off my traction bars and then also the shocks, because the shocks actually max out before the axle can drop low enough to get the wheel and tire off, and then also loosen up the shackles in the rear in order to make everything come down far enough to make that happen. Pain in the ass, but it's my own doing. So just got to deal with that. And then I'm just going ahead and I'm cleaning up everything underneath there while I can. And I'm really hoping that this works. This has got to work, right? I mean, it's the last thing that we changed besides the proportioning valve. So that might be another thing down the line that we got to change. But other than that, like I said, I'm going to throw this thing back together and then take it for a test drive. Back on the ground, looking good. I'm going to wait to put the caps on until after I take it for a test drive and make sure everything's good, because I probably screwed something up. Guess we'll find out. And I decided to ditch the cutout exhaust system. That droned so bad at idle or at like cruising speeds. Like I'd rather it be too loud than have that drone sound. So I think that over winter, I'm going to completely redo the entire exhaust system because I want it to shoot out the back, because it did get a little stinky because, I mean, it all cut off right there. So I just took the tips that were on there and basically put them on the ends there. I don't know if you can really see it or not, but it just kind of shoots out the side now. It's going to be loud, but hot rod things, right? What else? So a little update too, if you've been following along, like I had a leak in the transmission cooler right here. I replaced this fitting with an Earl's fitting because it has a little bit more meat on the base of it in order to get it to seat correctly. And then I also replaced this fitting, and I think the line actually had a pinhole in it somewhere. So I cut the line back a good 6 inches, and I have plenty of it to work with, and then redid it with a 90-degree fitting instead of a straight fitting that was on because I didn't really like the angle that it was at. And I'm pretty sure it solved the issue because after I cleaned this all up, it never leaked again. So I think we're good to go there. But yeah, let's take it for a test drive and see if this guy makes a difference. So just doing it here in the driveway, it already feels so much better. Yeah. Because before I would like smash that brake pedal, it would get really hard and then it wouldn't stop. But now it has that cushion where it stops, but it's not really hard. Does that make sense? So it just is way better. So driveway test, we're good. Let's take it on the street. Hope we don't break anything.
the Detroit speed system is, it feels so much more like a factory unit. Brakes still squeak. Yeah, like money well spent. Detroit Speed and Engineering booster and master kit, highly recommended. So awesome. What can I say? I highly recommend the Detroit Speed booster and master kit. That made a world of difference compared to that Willwood and that mystery booster that I had in there before. I'm super pleased with it so far. Obviously we only got like 4 test miles on it, but other than that, I can totally tell it's way better, way superior. So I know what my go-to is from now on. I mean, I'll make that the 69 Camaro system work with anything. I really like it. If you guys made it this far in the video, hit that like, hit the subscribe. Got a lot more coming up. Thanks for watching, guys.